Many people are saying that the United States might attack Iran. Why did this situation arise between the US and Iran? And why is Israel getting involved? I will explain all of that in this video. First, let's talk about the United States. What exactly does Donald Trump want from Iran? Why does he want to attack Iran? Donald Trump is a businessman and a negotiator. In his foreign policy, there is a concept called strategic submission. This means placing a powerful military threat in front of an enemy and intimidating them into surrendering, forcing them to give up their power completely. Trump wants to make a verified nuclear peace agreement with Iran. You might have a doubt. Didn't the US and Iran already sign a nuclear deal in 2015? Yes, that deal was called the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA. In 2015, when Barack Obama was the President of the United States, the JCPOA was signed. According to this deal, Iran had to dismantle about 97% of its nuclear infrastructure. Inspectors from the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, were allowed to monitor Iran's nuclear facilities 24/7 with cameras. In return, the US and other countries would remove economic sanctions on Iran and return billions of dollars. However, Donald Trump did not like this deal. He called it the worst deal ever negotiated. Why? Because the deal included sunset clauses, meaning it would expire after 10, 15 years. After that, Iran could restart nuclear weapons development. Also, the agreement did not stop Iran from developing conventional missiles, funding groups like Hezbollah and Hamas. Trump believed the agreement was not strict enough. So, after becoming president in 2018, he withdrew the United States from the JCPOA and imposed extreme sanctions on Iran again. His plan was to put maximum pressure so that Iran would come back to the table and sign a new deal on his terms. But Iran refused. They said they were willing to face sanctions, but would not accept Trump's conditions. Since then, a shadow conflict has continued between the US and Iran. Iran's nuclear program. To make a nuclear bomb, a mineral called uranium is needed. Uranium can be used to produce electricity or nuclear weapons. Extracting and enriching uranium takes many years. Iran had been enriching uranium for a long time. By 2025, Iran had reached an advanced stage of enrichment. When Trump returned to power, he demanded that Iran should not possess even 1% enriched uranium, not even for electricity. Iran rejected this demand, saying no country has the right to impose such rules on them. As tensions escalated, the US launched Operation Midnight Hammer in June 2025, targeting Iran's secret nuclear sites at Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. Trump announced that Iran's nuclear program had been completely destroyed. However, intelligence agencies said the damage only delayed the program by 1-2 years. Now Iran has reportedly enriched uranium to 60%, very close to weapons-grade level. Because of this, Trump has threatened another strike in 2026. Why the US opposes an Iranian nuclear bomb? If Iran develops a nuclear weapon, it could cause major problems. 1. Personal and political loss for Trump. Trump often calls himself the ultimate deal-maker. If Iran withstands his pressure and builds a bomb anyway, it would be seen as a major failure of his strategy. 2. Strategic loss for the United States. If Iran gets nuclear weapons, a Middle East arms race could begin. Countries like Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Turkey might start building their own nuclear weapons. Iran is also developing intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, capable of reaching the US mainland. A nuclear Iran could also threaten American military bases in the Middle East. Because of this, Trump has even discussed regime change in Iran. Why Israel is involved? For Trump, this is a power game. But for Israel, it is about survival. Israel is believed to be the only nuclear-armed country in the Middle East. This nuclear monopoly acts as a deterrent. If Iran gets a nuclear bomb, Israel loses that advantage. That is why Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu wants to destroy Iran's nuclear facilities. Israel and Iran had been fighting proxy wars for years. Iran supports groups such as Hezbollah, Lebanon, Hamas, Gaza, Houthi movement, Yemen. These groups receive weapons, funding, and training from Iran and frequently attack Israel. Israel has become tired of fighting these proxy wars and changed its strategy. Instead of waiting for attacks, it now prefers preemptive strikes. In June 2025, Israel launched Operation Rising Line against Iranian targets. There is also a domestic political factor. Netanyahu has been facing protests and court cases at home. Large external conflicts sometimes unite the public behind the government. Why Iran wants nuclear weapons? Iran believes Israel occupies Palestinian land and oppresses Palestinians. For decades, Iran has supported the creation of a Palestinian state. If Israel has nuclear weapons, Iran believes it should have them too. Iran also knows that fighting the US or Israel directly would be devastating. So it created a strategy called forward defense, or the Ring of Fire. Instead of fighting on its own territory, Iran supports proxy forces surrounding Israel. These groups form what is called the axis of resistance. Iran's internal situation. Iran is not a typical democracy. It follows a system called guardianship of the Islamic jurist. The most powerful figure is the supreme leader, currently Ali Khamenei. He controls the military, judiciary, media, and major state institutions. There is also a guardian council, a group of religious scholars who can reject laws passed by parliament and approve candidates for elections. Another controversial force is the morality police, who enforce strict religious codes in public. In 2022, massive protests erupted after the death of Mahsa Amini, a 22-year-old woman detained for allegedly wearing her hijab improperly. Her death triggered nationwide protests under the slogan, "Woman, Life, Freedom." The government responded with severe repression. At the same time, Iran's economy has suffered heavily due to sanctions. Inflation has surged, the currency has collapsed, and food prices have increased dramatically. Many Iranians are protesting not just for social freedom, but also for economic survival. The current situation, Iran now faces pressure from all sides. External threats from the US and Israel, internal protests from its own citizens, economic crisis due to sanctions. Trump says military strikes are necessary not only to stop nuclear weapons, but also to help Iranian people. Iranian leaders, meanwhile, use the threat of Israel and the US to maintain internal unity. In geopolitics, there are rarely clear good guys or bad guys. Every country acts according to its own survival and ideology. Right now, the Middle East is standing on the edge of a cliff. One small mistake could push the entire region into a massive war.